Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the McGonagall Boxing Podcast. So, just wanted to touch base on the Gervonta Davis Romero fight at the weekend at the Barclays Centre, New York City. Great event, great turnout, great atmosphere, looked absolutely electric in there. Unfortunately, some unfortunate scenes post-fight. Apparently there's a rumour of a gunshot and a bit of brawling, which you never want to see. I'm sure the investigation board's underway on that, but not putting too much of a negative on it, because it was a brilliant knockout from Gervonta Davis. And I called it before the fight. I said I was featured on a friend's podcast saying, listen, Romero is too light-fisted. He hasn't got enough to hold Gervonta Davis off, and it's a matter of when, not if. And I was right. But ultimately, what I didn't think would play out, and it shows you that Gervonta Davis is maturing, is he's very patient. Didn't rush his work. It was a bit of a boring fight, if I'm being honest with you, up to, of course, the brilliant knockout, where what happened was, they're both feeling each other out. I think Gervonta Davis was knowing Romero from years back in sparring, knew that he was going to walk into something, so he just set him up. He went on the back foot, Romero went on the front foot, but it's all well and good going on the front foot, but you've got to do some damage when you're on there. There wasn't much from Romero at all. It was just jab, wasn't it? Tentative jabs, and occasionally he'd try and throw the right hand. He got a bit more brave in round 5 when he landed, but then Davis landed back, and then Romero landed with a decent shot sort of at the beginning of round 6, and that ironically was his downfall, because he started to get more and more open, more and more confident. He came rushing in, reminded me of the Marquez-Pacquiao, where Pacquiao come running in and Marquez just timed him. And of course it's deadly, that kind of knockout, because Romero had all his weight coming forward, his whole body weight launching into Davis. Davis just sidestepped, bang, caught him with a swift check hook, and down he went. Beautiful shot. Probably not the hardest punch Davis ever hit, but certainly one of the best timed. And Romero obviously got up with staggering legs, and the ref quite rightly waved it off, because it was over. The fight was completely and utterly done at that point. So I think Romero, to say he was schooling Davis is laughable, really, because you'd probably give it a fairly even fight. I mean, you might want to make an argument 3-2 Romero. You might want to make it 3-2 Davis. I don't think anyone got into a huge significant lead. It was very cautious up and down rounds. It was like how you liked it, really. But no one got particularly schooled or beat up in them 5 rounds. Very cautious. But I look at it now and go, Davis was biding his time. He's waiting for the Romero mistake. He knew Romero was eventually going to become impatient, reckless, as he started to get caught himself, because Davis was starting to land on him, and that's exactly what happened. So it's a very patient, mature performance from Davis, and it showed that he can fight off the back foot. Shows that he's got good footwork, good movement, because he was slipping and sliding a lot. He was pivoting, he was hitting and moving to the side. And Romero's got good footwork, there's no question about it. He was able to adjust and adapt from the shots Davis threw, but ultimately he's impatient and inexperienced. That was his 15th fight, and I think it showed. I think there's levels to this, and I think Davis showed he's a level above. I think he could have beat Romero in numerous ways, but he chose, of course, to box him and time him, and that's how he did it. I mean, he was like I say. I mean, although Davis himself hasn't had too many fights in regards to like the legendary champions. I think that was his 27th fight. Romero, that's his 15th fight, so that's a big difference. And it showed. It showed, and there's only a year age gap, interesting enough. Davis 27, Romero 26, but in wealth of knowledge and experience, there's a huge gap, and that showed as well. And I was right. Ultimately, Davis would land, and he would hurt Romero. Romero's been buzzed and hurt before, and he doesn't hold the punch power. I know he's got a decent knockout ratio fighting, with all due respect, CD level fighters. But, you know, he was lucky to win the interim title against, was it Jackson Martinez, about 2 years ago. And, you know, that showed his level, really. You know, he's kind of contender level. You know, he's sort of, you know, he's in that top 8, I would say, possibly top 5, but you know, he's not the top 3, and he's certainly not the top 1. And you know, he'll go back. He's still young. Romero 26. He'll go back and rebuild, but he needs to work on a few things, and he needs to do more damage on the front foot. You know, it's all well and good taking the centre ring, but do something with it. He needs to get more vicious with that jab. He needs to throw a little bit more to the body. Occasionally he did, but not enough against Davis. And he needs to get some spite with the right hand, you know. The orthodox style there, you know, he's got to really let it go rather than sort of hesitant. You know, tries to box his way too many times to a fight where he could, you know, he could land. He's got good footwork. He's got good range. He's big, very big, isn't he? For a lightweight, Romero, big guy, he needs to use that. He's not using his advantages at the moment, and that's what's costing him. So he'll learn from that. As for now, Davis, I mean, the world's his oyster. I mean, he might want to challenge Stevenson for a super fight if Stevenson desires to move up. You know, he might wait. He might go for the TFO Lopez fight. He might go for the winner of the Cambozas Haney fight. He might even go for, I don't think he'll fight Loma, but you know, the world's his oyster. I'd like to see him try and unify. I think he should. I think I'd like to see him fight Haney. I think he beats Haney. I really do. But there's a lot of people saying that Haney will be too big, too slick. He'll do what Romero did, but better. They might have an argument for that. But no question, Tank's got power, he's got boxing skill, and he's got confidence to burn. And for me, he should be in the top 5 pound for pound. You can't have a record of 27 wins and 25 KOs. You know, he's a freeweight world champion. He deserves respect. Put respect on his name now. I know he's had a controversial life outside the ring, but he's growing up. You know, his last 2 years he's kept clean. And, you know, deserves some respect. He deserves to be acknowledged in the top pound for pound ring magazines. He can do it all. And he deserves that respect. And I certainly gets in my top 5. A brilliant win for Davis. Patient win. Used his boxing skills, and then when Romero made the mistake, he was devastating with his punch power. So roll on the big fights for Davis. Personally, I want the Haney Cambozas winner.